Hello, ladies. Welcome to our last live class of 2025. We got our usual push exercises today. So shoulders, chest, triceps, all that stuff, legs and abs, always. Let's see. We definitely need our dumbbells, but do we need anything else? No, just dumbbells today. No bands, nothing. All right, so I'll give it just a minute to let a couple of people jump onto the live. I know a couple people have been asking, new members have kind of jumped in for a look-see kind of at this last week. So I will be posting how to like officially join and everything. Later on today, I'll post up in the group how to do that. All right, so it's a minute after there. So let's get into our usual warm-up stretches. So feet are hip distance apart, toes pointing straight forward. We're going to reach down towards the ground. Up, tip. You're tipping sideways, and then you're twisting left and right. All right, come out nice and wide with your feet. Toes are still straight forward. Reach down. So get your same reaches, just with different foot positions. Tip and twist. Okay, all the way narrow with the feet. Same thing, down low, up high. Tip, twist. All right, so then we come back to normal distance apart, but then we externally rotate our toes. Reach down, up, tip, and twist. Okay, and then internally rotate the toes. Perfect. All right, so let's grab some dumbbells. We're going to do an overhead press. That'll be kind of your limiting factor here. So choose your weights accordingly to what you can do overhead presses with. So we're going to hold it up by your shoulders. We're going to do a squat. So it's like you're sitting back in a chair. You're bending your knees, dropping your hips. Okay, squat, keep your heels on the ground. Then as you stand up, press up over your head. So it's a squat, press. All right, keep your chest up as much as you can. It does have to come forward a little bit, just biomechanically, that's how our body works, but try to keep it up as much as you can. And 12. All right, bring those weights down. If you have fairly heavy ones on that, you might want to switch up to your lighter ones. We're going to do a front raise. So stand up nice and tall, chest out, shoulders back. With nice straight arms, your palms facing inward, you're going to lift up to shoulder height and then slowly let it drop down again, okay? So don't come up any higher than shoulder height and then drop down. I know my camera's on a little bit of an angle, but it's shoulder height, back down to the hips. Nice, slow, controlled movements. Keep those shoulders down. And 12. All right, it's our third exercise. We're going to get into that kind of bent over posture. And then we're going to have your elbows in tight to your sides, nice and high, kick back. Okay, so keep those elbows high, squeeze the back of your arm, upper arm, and then slowly let it come down. 12. All right, that's our first circuit. So just take your little water break. Quick little water break. All right, and we're back to the beginning. So feet a little bit wider than shoulder width. You can slightly turn out. It's kind of whatever feels kind of comfortable for your hips. And then you sit back into a squat, up over your head. And 12. All right, catch your breath for a second, and then shoulders back and down, chest out, stand up, nice good posture. Lift to shoulder height, down to your hips. And 12. All right, and then bend over, but as I say bend over, make sure you keep a nice neutral spine, flat back, you're not rounding. And then your kickbacks. And 12. All right, another little quick break. All right, and our third and final set of this circuit. So you're ready for your squat press. So sit back in your chair, imaginary chair, press up over your head. And 12. All right, so we got our front raises. So shoulders back and down, chest out, and lift. Slowly control the down. Don't let gravity do all the work there. Control it. And 12. Okay, and the last one here, you're bent over, tricep kickback. And 12. All right, so that's it for our first circuit. So take another quick little water break. All right, it's coming down to the floor. Bring your dumbbells with you. If you have two sets, like a heavier and a lighter, you can probably do the first exercise with your heavier set. All right, so, all right, get settled in on your back. And then, so, like I said, you can probably do a little bit heavier weight for this first exercise. It's our chest press, just like we did last week. We're going to bring it down, bring your elbows down, and then press up over your chest. I didn't mention here, but if you have a bench, obviously you can lay on your bench for these two. 10, 11, 12. All right, now up to you if you want to drop to your lighter weights, but we are going to turn in and we're going to do kind of a similar movement. This is called a close grip bench press. So palms are inward, keep your elbows real close to the sides of your body as you come down, and then again push straight up over your chest. Okay, so elbows touch down, push up. Keep those elbows in tight to the ribs. And 12. All right, and our third one here, we're going to come back to our skull crushers. So keep your elbows up high, bend back towards your ears, and then straighten your arms upward. Okay, back towards the ears and up. Elbows stay nice and vertical the whole time. And 12. All right, I sometimes like to sneak a fourth exercise in this middle group. So today we're going to wrap both hands around that one dumbbell. Keep your arms perfectly straight, and you're going to go back over your head. So the movement is coming from your shoulders, not your elbows. Your arm is going to stay straight the whole time, okay? So using your shoulders, go back over your head, and then pull back up over your chest, okay? Stretch it back, pull up over your chest. Try to think about using those muscles right underneath your armpits. So stretching out, and then use those muscles to pull up. Perfect. All right, so let's keep it moving here. We're going to go back to the first exercise, which was palms kind of, I'll say, towards your feet, facing outward. And then bring your elbows nice and wide outside your chest. Push straight up. All right, turn them in, and then we're going to do the close grip bench. So elbows still come down, but they're tight to the sides of your body. Push up. Seven. 12. All right, skull crushers. Arms should be starting to burn here. This is a big endurance set for our arms. Similar muscles, not much break. All right, getting rid of one. Wrap both hands around that one dumbbell. Arms are perfectly straight. From the shoulders, extend back. Pull up. And 12. All right, let's get right into that third set. Like I said, I don't want too much of a break here. This is an endurance set. So elbows down, nice and wide, push up. All right, so then we have our close grip, so turn the palms inward, down, press up. That's 12. All right, skull crushers, we're almost there. Those triceps should be burning. $11, $12. Whew. All right, last one. One dumbbell back over the head. And 12. Whew. All right. Let's get rid of these dumbbells and we're going to come up from the floor. We've been on our back long enough to get our ab exercises in today. Just take a quick second. All right, so up tall. One dumbbell, preferably a heavy one if you have. Empty hand is going to go up by your ear, and then you're just going to tip over to the side. So we did this one last week, just our traditional side bend here. So one weight hanging down, tip to the side. And 12. All right, other side. $10, $11, $12. All right, so lay those dumbbells or that dumbbell down. And we're going to do our overhead reach with the pelvic tilt. So if you've been here for a while, you know it. But if you're new, you're pushing your hips forward, okay? So it's not a back bend where you kind of curve your spine backwards. You push your hips forward, and then you just reach back over your head. Should feel your abs kind of kicking in, lower abs especially. Okay, so abs forward and reach. 12. All right, so we're going to finish this circuit with a jump squat. So if you can handle impact whatsoever, I do suggest you doing, even if it's like a little tiny jump like that, barely getting off the floor. The impact is so good for our bone densities and everything. So if you can handle it at all, try to get the little jump. If not, just give me some body weight squats, okay? So your jump can look anything like that to real deep, getting real high, or whatever your body can handle, okay? 12 reps. 10, 11, 12. All right, that's it for that. Take a little breather. Grab your one dumbbell, and we're back to our side bends. Tip it over, straight over to the side. No twisting, no turning, just straight over. Think about like you have a wall right behind you. If you want to do it up against the wall, you definitely can. You're sliding side to side, up and down the wall. Okay, switch it. And 12. All right, lay that down, and we're going for our pelvic tilt, which is that lean, kind of push your hips forward, tilt your pelvis up, and then reach back. All right, you guys know what's next. Let's get it. Woo. All right, sip of water. Grab the dumbbell. We're heading into our last set here. Last circuit, last set. Tip it over. Stretch out that rib cage. And 12. All right, switching it up. And 12. All right. Overhead reach. Here we come. Push those hips forward. Think with the knees also kind of driving forward. That'll drag those hips out there. And 12. And let's take 2025 out with a bang. Jump. Ten, 11, 12. Whew. All right, down to the floor for our stretches. All right, so legs stretched out in front of you, straight out, just lean forward. Okay, bring your feet in, knees fall open. get into our 90-90 position. So that means 90-degree angles in both knees. And then lean forward. Okay, other side. All right, next up is child's pose. So you're going to come back onto your heels, bring your hips back to your heels, and then walk your hands out. Let your head drop down. Couple deep breaths. Okay, up to hands and knees. And then arch your back up like a cat. And drop it down like a cow. Up. And down. Just kind of slowly move between those two positions. Okay, and then we have our half kneel, which means one knee on the floor, other one out lunge style. Whatever knee is on the floor, that arm goes up and over. So you get a nice good stretch going down in between the ribs and the hip on that side. Okay, switch it up. Perfect. Come up from the floor and then find somewhere to hold for balance. And then pull that one leg up behind you. Try to keep the knees close together as you do this stretch. Okay, and the other side. Good, and then our final stretch. Grab your hands behind your back and then pull your shoulders back and down away from your ears. Stretch across that chest and shoulders. All right, that's it. So thank you for joining, guys. I'm looking forward to seeing what we can accomplish in 2026. I'll make a couple posts in the group today for the new members and a couple newbies coming through to join us in January. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.